Well, the banks run the world. It's called the central banks of America, the Fed, the ECB, the European Central Bank, PBOC, People's Bank of China, the Bank of Japan. Capitalism is run by a central banking system. That's called communism also. The government is, communism is centralized government, capitalism is centralized banking. And the more you step back, you look at the big picture, the ultra-rich control the central banks. For example, the Rothschild Corporation, let's say there's 50 central banks, the Rothschilds own about 48 of them. You and I don't have a prayer because money makes the world go round, and the economy runs on money, like it or not. So that's why I became a student of money back in the 80s. And I began looking at, I was a student of R. Buckminster Fuller, a guy who created the geodesic domes and all that. And he wrote a book called Grunch of Giants. Grunch stands for Gross Universal Cash Heist. It's how the ultra-rich steal our wealth. And so when I read Grunch of Giants in '83, I understood what my rich dad was telling me. That's when my rich dad, he read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It says the rich don't work for money because our money is toxic. Our money is corrupt. Our financial system, or money, is designed to make the rich richer, but keep the poor middle class poorer. And that's why our schools don't teach us about money, because the school system works for the central banks also. This is the big picture. This is 1895 to 2015, 120 years of the Dow. And what you see here is the giant crash of 1929. That was the giant crash of 1929. It was nothing. Nothing. And you look over here, this is the giant crash. I mean, everybody talks about the giant crash of 1987. There it is there. It was absolutely nothing. It nearly wiped out the U.S. This put us into a depression for 25 years. That little blip there. Now you look at what's happening. This is 2000. This is 2008. And here we are today. So I ask you this. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. If this baby crashes again, how big will it be? I don't know. I don't know what would happen, but I think the house of cards is about to come down anyway because the corruption inside our banking system is at all-time highs. This has happened before in history. It's been going on for thousands of years where the banking system, I'm not blaming bankers. I like my banker a lot because he gives me money. But anyway, the whole system was rigged by the banks. The golden rule. He who controls the gold makes the rules. And so I decided I'd rather be on the banker side than the employee side. It's just a choice. I talk about the three types of fakes there are in this world. Number one is fake money. Number two is fake teachers. And number three are fake assets. Most teachers in school, while they're good people, most of them really don't understand money. So they really can't teach you about money. So I call them fake teachers because they tell you to go to school and get a job, save money. Why would you save money? And work hard and get out of debt and all that stuff. But they don't know what they're talking about. That's my poor dad, PhD. In 1971, President Richard A. Nixon,
well, I'm not a crook,
Tricky Dick, took the U.S. dollar off the gold standard. Why is that significant?
I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States. Your dollar will be worth just as much tomorrow as it is today.
So why Nixon in 1971 saying the dollar's coming off the gold standard was supposed to be temporary is so important is the U.S. dollar became fake money. It's exactly what my rich dad was saying to me. That's why the rich, lesson number one in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the rich don't work for money, because in 1971 it became fake. I think we're going to economic collapse because for thousands of years we've done what we've done for thousands of years what we're doing today. We spend too much money, we print money, we debase our currency. During the Roman empires, they took gold and silver and they mixed it with lead and nickel. We're doing the same thing. And so the trouble with what's happening to our money is in 1971, when Nixon took us off the gold standard, the dollar became dead. People don't know that. Dollar is dead, and they could print as much as they wanted. So the value of the dollar goes down. It's a very rich dad, poor dad. I said savers are losers. Because why would you save it when the Fed can print it? It doesn't compute in my capitalistic mind. The trouble is, historically, for thousands of years, anybody who's done this collapses. So the Roman Empire collapsed, the Chinese government collapsed, and we're doing the same thing. We just don't live long enough to know it. So we're pretty close right now. We just can't keep printing money and giving people money for free and think that it'll survive. And the trouble is, it's now a global problem. You know, we have the central banks of like European, Japanese, Chinese, everybody's central banks today, and we're printing money. It's not going to last. The rich started to get richer because the stock market was going up, and the economy was booming because there was all this fake money flooding the system. Then there was this crash here in 1987. So in 1987, after they crashed, they said, oh my God, how do we prevent it from crashing again? So they started creating fake assets. You know, everybody watches the stock market. Being a professional investor, the problem's in the bond market. And the bond market is bigger than the stock market. We're in serious trouble financially. And so that's why when I talk to people, I say, buy a silver dollar. It costs you $20. Oh, I can't afford $20. Then you got trouble. Buy a dime for $2. I can't afford $2. It's the mindset screwed up. But they can go to McDonald's and buy a Big Mac. That's why the Glass-Steagall Act in 1999 was so crucial. They took your savings, put it in the casino, and this happened. We have fake assets. So that's kind of what's going on right now. So we had this crash, so they created more fake assets. It went up. 2008, real estate, they said it was a real estate crash. It wasn't a real estate crash. It was a fake asset crash. A fake assets called CDOs, collateralized debt obligations, MBSs, mortgage-backed securities, and CDSs, credit default swaps, fake assets.
And all America has done is produce bubbles. So we have a bubble in real estate, bubble in stocks, bubble in bonds. Everybody's happy. They think they're getting rich today. And I've never seen it so frightening. So this is going to be the biggest bubble in world history that's going to bust. I think America's going into the next depression. We're at war with Russia. Biden is going hat in hand to Venezuela and to Iran to try and get oil, but he cuts off U.S. oil. I make more money, but America is going to go broke.